Today, again, it's all about encouragement and the journey that we take together and encouraging together and running the race together. Is that okay? Okay, so we are going to be discussing a little bit about my journey, and then we're also going to be going through and talking about supporting others through challenges and the importance of supporting others and encouraging others, looking at some specific biblical examples of others that have gone through challenges and needed encouragement in the Bible. And then we're also going to look at an encouragement clip at the very end. So just a very brief introduction to me, so you'll kind of know where I'm coming from and why I'm very passionate about encouragement and support. I started my journey off at a very young age of medical challenges as a hemorrhagic stroke survivor at age 29. My stroke was caused by an undetected malformation of blood vessels on the right side of my brain. That's why I have a limp and can't totally use my left arm. I then developed epilepsy from the stroke. My husband and I were just shy of our 5th year wedding anniversary. We lived in Minnesota at the time, and I did have a strong faith. I was so grateful for that. But I tell you, I did not depend on my God the way I do now. And He has taken me through some amazing challenges, and I am so grateful for who He is in my life. And if you don't know Him the way I have depended on Him, please feel free to talk to me or someone else in this room that does, because I would never be where I am in my relationship and how I persevered the way I have without Him. But we lived in Minnesota. I had just transitioned my career from corporate America to our church because we had been trying to start our family and had not been successful yet. I had this great plan that I would change my career to our church so that we could start our family. And God had a totally different plan. And that great plan was to save my life. So 3 weeks into that new job, I had this hemorrhagic stroke. And I am lucky to be alive. I was unconscious within an hour of calling 911, rushed me to the hospital, and I woke up 17 days later from a drug-induced coma, completely paralyzed on the left side. So we learned right away that we weren't going to start a family, but we were going to learn to start life over again, and life just changes in the blink of the eye. Some of you guys have probably been through your own set of challenges, and you either get stuck or you roll with it, right? And you just have to keep rolling, and that's what we did. So 6 months post-stroke, unfortunately, my husband was in the aviation industry. This was soon after September 11th, and he lost his job. So we picked up, we sold our dog, we sold our first house, and we moved to Arizona. Again, God had an amazing plan for us. I threw myself into rehab here in Arizona, and stroke recovery was my full-time job for many, many years to get my mobility and my independence back. So grateful for all that I did gain back. And we adopted kids 8 years post-stroke. We adopted 3 kids from Colombia, South America. That was a whole other crazy, amazing journey full of challenges and blessings. But the medical challenges didn't stop there. I was pre-diagnosed with ovarian cancer and had a full hysterectomy in 2022. Had my gallbladder out just this past December. And I just recently determined through a CT scan that I was born with only 1 kidney. So, you know, I have gone through a lot of challenges, as many of you probably have, but God has taught me that challenges are just things. And we can look at these challenges and get stuck, or they can become opportunities and great purposes within His master plan. And I am so grateful He's given me that perspective, because when we go through challenging times, those are hard times, and it can be financial challenges, medical challenges, spousal challenges, child challenges. But if you look at it with the perspective of it being an opportunity and it's just a change in our plans, but not a change in our God's master plan, it truly does change our perspective. And that rolls us right into one of my very favorite verses, which is 1 Thessalonians 5:16 to 18. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Which doesn't change necessarily your physical circumstances, but it does change your attitude. And attitude perspective can change everything, right? And that leads us into encouragement. Sometimes we need encouragement from other people, from our God, and even from a stranger. And it might not change our physical situation, but that encouragement and change our attitude, and our attitude change can truly change the whole picture. So, my question to you is to consider, what does encouragement and support mean to you? And if you've never really pondered that, I encourage you guys to really reflect on that. One thing God has really done for me through my challenges is given me time to really sit back and rest and reflect. And I'm not really good at doing that. I'm a goer, and I'm a one that just is like the Energizer Bunny that never stops. And sometimes my family would really appreciate if I would stop a little more, but I don't. And however, He's given me the opportunity to really start reflecting more. And when I do stop and reflect, He gives me such nuggets of information to become closer to Him, and to just look around the world around me. And part of that is encouragement and how I can support others, and how others have maybe not supported me and encouraged me the way I needed, but then turn that around and how I can encourage and support others the way I wanted to be supported and I needed to be supported. So I encourage you to take that question and really think, if you've gone through tough challenges and you weren't supported or encouraged the way you thought you should be, turn that around and think, how can I help the next person the way I want it to be? Some of the biblical definitions of encouragement are to put your heart into one another. It's a shared hope that will lift someone up. It's when we exhort someone towards some action, and when we come along and help them fulfill what we're urging them to do, and what God, and we see what God is urging them to do. And it's also when we're helping them to draw closer to God and His Word. That's the most important thing, isn't it? Especially as Christian women, especially when we come along our Christian sisters and we're helping them to be closer to God and what we see they need and what we want them to do, and what ultimately is our goal as Christian sisters should be to come alongside each other and encourage each other in God and His Word for them, and to lift them up. Because we can be there for one another, but what we really need is for us to give our Christian sisters the dependence on our God. Because He's our total encouragement. He's the one friend that will be there for us 24/7. Light is always on. Everyone has different needs, and we all get busy. But a simple gesture of loving kindness to support one another can go a long way. So I encourage you guys, if you are up late at night one night and a sister brings their vase to your mind, don't wait to text them, email them, or send them a voicemail. It could mean the difference in them waking up that next morning and feeling so much better about their situation, or not. Here's a couple of Bible verses just to further what we really call biblically to do as far as encouragement. 1 Thessalonians 5:11, again, our key verse for this morning together is, therefore encourage one another and build another up, just as in fact you're doing, which comes from Paul and his time. Hebrews 10:24 and 25, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. We never know, guys, when our last breath is going to be. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be 50 years from now. But to leave your very best legacy, day in and day out, helping someone else, that's what we're called to do. We're called to stand beside one another, helping each other, and living our best life, serving each other, and serving our God. In Romans 5:2, each of us should please our neighbors for the good and to build them up. We have gotten in the habit as a world of just going in, closing our garage door, and doing our own life. We don't know our neighbors. We don't bake cookies. We don't invite people over for lemonade. That's just not our world anymore, but it should be, because you have neighbors probably around you, just like I do, that we don't know. There are so many examples of biblical characters supporting and encouraging each other the way we should care about each other every single day. Here's a couple of them, and I put them on your sheet just so you'd have them. One is Barnabas and Paul, and it was in Acts 9:27 and Acts 14. Barnabas means son of encouragement, and he actually endorsed Paul into the Christian community, and he was the one that actually took him before the Christian Council and made sure the Christian Council, through all of Acts, established that he was doing good, and then they ended up traveling and preaching together. Another example was Moses and Joshua leading the Israelites into the Promised Land, and God's encouragement that he would never leave Joshua. God was right beside Joshua to teach him the leadership skills he needed, and that he would never leave his side. Joshua 1:9 says, "Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Aaron's encouragement to Moses in his speech. Moses at the very beginning was so worried about speaking to the Israelites, and Aaron was right there to speak for him. And look at what Moses did and how God used him. Elizabeth's encouragement to Mary when she became pregnant. Ruth's encouragement to Naomi when she followed her after their husbands died. Joseph's support and encouragement of his brothers even after the betrayal. He didn't have to do any of that for his brothers. And when Egypt was in the dire straits, Joseph could have completely turned his back on his brothers and his father. But look what he did to encourage them and help them through survival. And Esther's cousin and guardian Mordecai, and his encouragement to Esther to go before the king. If he had not been there beside Esther encouraging her, would she have gone? Would she have saved the people? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, that would have changed all of history of her people. And it took the encouragement of Mordecai to have her basically risk her life to go before the king unannounced the way she did. And so there's so many more examples of biblical characters that we can glean from when we are looking at how we can encourage others. These are just a few. Here's a clip that I'd like you to spend just a few minutes watching. You might have seen it before. It's from the Olympics in 1992, and it's really an encouragement of a father to a son, but it's also really our encouragement of our Father, our God Father, to us as His children. So hopefully, I didn't hook up my other speaker, so hopefully it'll go through the speaker system. when things don't go as planned, having an encourager to stand by your side can make all the difference in the world. And sometimes we look for that encourager to be our best friend, our spouse, our, woman girlfriend, our pastor, the human friend. And that is important. But humans let us down, right? And that's when we're left with, what do we do next? And the most important thing I've learned on my journey is our very best friend that never will let us down is our Creator, our God. And so we have to spend time in His Word daily, making Him our best friend, learning who He is. And that is where we pick up our Bible, not our phone, and we learn day in and day out who He is, and depending on Him to really be our best friend so He can encourage us and be our encourager and the one we depend on. But I love this clip because just like the Father was the encourager and the one Derek could depend on, that is who our Father God truly is, the one that we can depend on when everyone else in this universe lets us down. And sometimes we just don't acknowledge Him. We don't acknowledge that. But on the day we die, He's the one that's going to be there. He's the one we're going to stand face to face with. Not our best friend, not our spouse, not our pastor, not our best girlfriend, but our Creator. So the question is, will you turn to God as your Father first to help you when you need support and encouragement the next time? So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. We're going to spend next time moving on to, I believe, worship, and then we are going to move into lunch. And when we do lunch, I would like to encourage you to spend some time looking at those questions I put on your table, and I'm going to also put them up here. And then I will come back up after lunch, and we can discuss some of your answers. So thank you, guys.